Hello, and welcome to Depth Perception. We discuss movies and dive into how films direct the way we experience them. We create a perception of sound, a perception of sight, with a dimension of mind. We move into a land of both shadow and substance, of themes and ideas. I am Mr. Vozly.
I'm Kmax.
Well, old Kmax and I traveled to an emotional depth this season, a depth that cannot be measured by any modern man-made tool. We hit our emotional low with harrowing movies like The Ritual, Talk to Me, and Midsommar, exploring grief and some characters that could not process it. Then we started to turn the corner and we moved into isolation and watched a few characters in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that were able to appreciate the value of interpersonal relationships. And so now we try to travel to emotional heights. 3.8 is brought to you by the word belonging. K-Max, how do you feel about this?
I feel a lot better. I feel like we've taken a roller coaster, right? We're enjoying the highs right now, and I'm looking forward to it. I am the eternal optimist, and I like the highs. I avoid heavy conversations. I avoid the lows. I avoid even trying to dive in and understanding why do I feel that way. Probably the reason why I'm such a mess sometimes, but I like the easy. I like the comfortable, and I feel like we have the possibility. I'm not making any promises, folks, but I feel like we have a possibility of going into some ground that is a little bit more cozy, and I like the cozy. Boy, do I love the cozy. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the case. Looking at some of the pre-production notes, I'm feeling like we got a shot at it. But man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good.
Well, got the new coffee open.
Well, I mean, that's probably the biggest reason. And I got ganache right in front of me here. So
we've got the Christmas tree lit. We've got a gentle snowscape outside.
Yeah. Haven't seen my friend in a week and a half. These are all good things.
Yeah. All good things, all good things.
About the idea of belonging, though, man, it is just such a term that makes me feel, who doesn't want to belong? You know what I mean? It's I think a lot of times on this pod, we use words like that to create contrast from what we're actually looking at. Now it feels like we're leaning into one of the words that isn't creating the contrast, where we might look at some negative words to say, but this is how belonging makes us feel. And so I'm kind of excited to dive into that.
I think that contrast came with how hard we leaned into grief.
Yeah.
We talked about some heavy stuff in earlier episodes, so I think the juxtaposition to this chapter of belonging and what we'll be watching for it, I think it seems like it has a little bit more impact. I don't know, maybe it's the setting that we're in right now. But
yeah, it's a real good setting right now. The conditions, optimal.
All right, well, we'll get into our agenda. So, K-Max, fetch me my sedative. And by that, I mean dig me.
I was going to say the same thing. Ding me or fetch the bell.
What is belonging to you? And what makes us feel the biggest sense of belonging? What happens when belonging is absent or taken away? Movies that show improved health after getting a sense of belonging, and we go through what issues were fixed in those movies. And then we'll talk about, is a sense of belonging the most comforting thing we can feel? And is this reflected in the movie watching experiences?
All right. By the way, did you notice the difference, listener, to my pessimistic bell ringing and my optimistic bell ringing? Zeal and firmness and clarity.
Yeah.
As opposed to Midsommar.
Well, it was like...
without apology.
That was before you're visited by the spirits.
That's right.
And then now it's Christmas morning.
This is my I must stand on my head moment.
Woo! Well, Kmax, what is belonging to you, and what gives us the biggest sense of belonging?
Well, to me, belonging feels like, again, and the beauty of the pod here is that we have no answers for you. We have a couple perspectives. So, in my lens, the way I feel it is belonging is comfort, it's safety, it is familiar, it is accepted. There's a song by Stephen Curtis Chapman. I know contemporary Christian listeners from the 80s and 90s will be like, hey, him. There's a song called Where We Belong. It's just the idea and the prep for this particular pod had me listening and thinking about that song over and over and over again. It's pretty much just, this is what we were made for. You know, when you feel like, almost like that Billie Eilish song, What Was I Made For? I think about that too with this. It's like, where do I fit? And it sounds really heavy, but it's supposed to be. In this universe, where does Kmax fit? And the places where I feel like I fit the most, that's where I feel the strongest sense of belonging. And I look for those, and I try to avoid the places that I feel like I don't belong. Not just for my own safety or my own like moral compass, but for my own mental health. Because if I dwell in those places, either I'm trying too hard to be something I'm not, or I'm straying too far from the path from something I should be.
I like that analogy of like fitting. So like a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
You know, you fit here, nice and snug. You're supported on all sides. All sides fit correctly, and that's where you belong, right there. So I like that analogy.
How about you? What's belonging to you?
I think pretty similar. Belonging is acceptance with a group. It's accepting a group of people, and it's being accepted by.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I've realized that I'm a big supporter of reciprocating things.
Yeah.
You know,
Like a symbiotic thing. Like
you help each other. You know, you still have to hold up your end of things. So if you're belonging, you're also accepting whoever else is in your group. It's your emotional home base.
Oh, there we are.
Belonging is the ability to have authenticity within that group. So it's not, you know, I have to act this way when I'm with that group. You know, it's just being yourself in that group. It's a mutual feeling of care. Like the group cares for you and you care for the group. In that sense, it can also be responsibility. Or support. That group could be family, a faith, a group of friends, and I think those things are what offer the biggest senses of belonging. So faith, family, friends, the 3 Fs.
Yeah.
Just like my sophomore college report card. Well, some people may not have like a specific faith, but that could be replaced by like culture or community.
Yeah.
But those 3 relationships are where you are yourself. If each of those foundations are healthy, you feel valued, you don't feel judged, and you feel like you can contribute to a shared happiness. You can apologize if you've done something wrong. You can celebrate together when you succeed, and you strive to improve yourself for the group. You lift up, and you get lifted by. So you're each other's safety nets.
Yeah.
I did want to point out, you said something important earlier.
It happens all the time with me.
You said we don't have any answers. What we have is a couple perspectives.
Yeah.
And I think that's accurate for everything we go through.
Yeah.
We're not authorities in anything we talk about. We just try our best to dig through some of these tough topics.
So if you're wondering, we are that one podcast that will say that. I love it because I listen to a lot of pods. We are that one that says, thanks for listening. Here's a couple perspectives. Join us if you'd like, because we're going to tell you what we think. And also what you think matters a whole lot too. And you're probably just as right or just as wrong. But dive in, as opposed to, thanks for coming. We're going to make you learn how smart we are.
Right.
And how wrong you are. No, you're probably...
None of that.
You know, and man, that's why your feedback's so important, guys. I hate to give these commercials all the time, but whenever we get it, it matters so much because it makes the conversation broaden a little bit, and it's yummy for us. So thanks. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Now, so what made you feel the biggest senses of belonging?
I always feel like my entire adult life, anybody that sees anything that I put on there is, again, I put those things on, even like all my biographies. Before I put anything else, I always put faith on there. And then I put like family, and then I put friends. Those three travel with me wherever I go.
So we had the same.
Yeah,
the same-
they're almost synonymous. Like most of them, I don't do Facebook or anything like that, but I do Instagram.
I do.
I do
Believe
Instagram and other
that.
things. Yeah, feel strongly about belonging. I value those three things right there. I don't think you can have. I think I have to have all of them for me to feel whole and to feel complete. Very often there's overlap between my faith and my family and my friends. Not always though.
Right.
And the things that I need, family makes me feel. I feel safest there, like with family. I feel your mom and dad's house, even the idea of mom and dad's house, like that. To feel like this is my home base. This is where I retreat. This is my safe place. And then faith. Anybody that knows me knows that it plays a big deal. Like one of my favorite songs are "My Hiding Place" or "Shelter in the Time of Storm" or "The Solid Rock." Or those songs resonate with me because my favorite book is "The Shadow of the Almighty" by John Eliot, who was like a missions worker in South America, and he talks about the decades of service to people who didn't want him serving them, and how folks would say, before we got to know you, we wanted to kill you, and we thought on dozens of occasions how we're going to do it, and here's what happened, how we didn't, and here we are having coffee together now, and he just went back to a certain verse in Scripture about him and his family being in these places and just saying we never were once afraid, or because we knew we dwelt in the shadow of the Almighty. And so I don't think that I can find a more sense of place of belonging and safety. I do safety, comfort, protection when I think about belonging, because when I think of the home place of my parents, and I know they're not going to live forever, but that'll always be home.
Right.
I think 1683. I wrote a short story called 1683, just about what home means to me, and it had very little to do with the people, oddly enough, or the things or the stories, but just that place involved all those things: people and places and stories and neighbors and celebrations and values and loss and love and all the memories there. The history of that place, 1683. That's the address of my parents' house. It'll always be that to me as long as I live, no matter where I live in the universe or who I'm with or what I'm doing. That gives me a sense of belonging home. Same thing with like faith, right? The idea of a stability, a belief system that gives me comfort. That is my true North Star that guides me and directs me, and should, but doesn't always direct what I do and who I am. And then I think also like belonging is who I let into my life, the people that I choose, right? The family you choose instead of the family you're born into. And I value them, I don't want to say just as much, but yes, just as much as my family and my faith. Friends, I try to put into friendships because I get so much out of them. And I ask so much out of friendships. I do. I'm a very needy friend, just to let you guys know I am, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I tell people to pray for me. I ask them to pray for me. I ask them to, hey, I'm having a tough day. I'll send a text out. Unfortunately, you know this. I will do this with folks, and I will lean on folks that I trust and I love, and because I offer that back too, and because I really believe that we need each other. One of my best friends, Doc Tonema, Deke is a big proponent of the idea that we need people and we need to take care of each other. We might not be great at it. Sometimes we're going to fail miserably, that doesn't take away the fact that we all do need each other. And it is for that sense of belonging, right? You're not going to feel a sense of belonging with other people unless those other people have committed to it too and are doing the work also. It's hard to feel belonging with someone who's not present or doesn't seem to care about it.
Right.
They can still be friends. They can still be family. I can still go to church with them. But I don't feel like I belong if they're not putting in the work also.
They can be part of the puzzle, but part of one of the pieces on the other side of the puzzle.
I think so. And I'm trying to say that as being as not judgy as possible, but it is just the way it is with me. And that's just my own perspective. Those that are close with me, we're in it together. Best we can. And sometimes we suck at it. But the people that I find are the closer pieces of the puzzle show up. And I guess they're present. They show up. Yeah, there it is. That's where I feel the most belonging. Even like sports, right? You feel part of a locker room. You wonder why how come that team's small? I don't know if there's that family yet. I don't know if you saw the post game of Indiana last night, man. Those guys are going to be tough to beat in the tournament because they love each other. They might get beat in the first round and totally take my analogy away. But, man, you get a team that's playing for each other, and as a coach, longtime coach of varsity sports, that's a dangerous team. You can go out and win some games you probably shouldn't win. Anyway, belonging is and in faith is probably my best part of it. I think I already went over that. If it weren't for that, man, and that identity, like my ultimate identity is inside that faith. And some people, that's not comfortable to hear, but I try not to make it like a point where I fight people on it.
Right.
I try to show them the good that can come with this relationship that I have with God. I try to live that. And I think more folks than not see that and say, yeah, this is pretty cool evidence here.
I feel like I try to do the same because I know I should be more vocal about it, but I feel like just people today in general don't want to be told things.
I don't.
So if you said, you should do this, they're going to do the exact opposite.
Right.
I'm going to do even harder.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to do the heck out of that.
So I get that, where you just try to live the way you live, and hopefully that shows people what it could be.
I have the number one example, Benjamin Harrison Braley, my father. I will get his name on digital print anytime I can, as far as someone who says, always, always, always be preaching, and once in a while use words. And he's lived that way. Again, I'm not a perfect person. He's not a perfect person. But I've seen that every day of my life, my 53 years. Someone who serves others, someone who cares, someone who loves his family, someone who sacrifices for his family and his friends, someone who goes to work every day, someone who works after work, and then someone who does the dishes after everybody's gone to bed and smiles and says, love you guys, and this first one's shuffling his feet in the morning, getting things, putting the coffee on. That's preaching without saying a word. He's showing sacrificial love. He's showing commitment. He's showing, and man, the lessons you learn from that, man, is awesome. So anyway, side note, I always have to get those stamps out there.
I wanted to make sure I put this one out there too. I feel like belonging it's also being able to grow within a group. I mentioned strive to improve yourself, but to grow, to change, and the group that you're with can still accept that. So I think you see examples of when that doesn't happen, when you say, oh, well, I think I'm this now, or I think I believe in that, or I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to dress this way. This is my new hobby here. And sometimes you get people that don't accept that. And then you realize, oh, I didn't actually belong with these people.
There we go.
And then you have positive examples like, I mentioned the ability to apologize in a group, which means that people can see that you made a mistake or accept that you did something you regret and you are sorry for it, and they can accept and still keep you nestled in that group.
Without resenting you and keeping you at arm's length.
Right. And I think that extends to marriage, as a reminder of an example with, my missus recently where, something affected me the wrong way. And I apologized through it and we talked through it, but it was like she made sure she, stopped me. It was like, okay, this is happening. Talk me through this.
Mm-hmm.
And we got past it, very quickly after she did that.
Yeah.
And so it's moments like that where I know that I belong with her is because she can accept me for whatever I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mostly wrongdoing, but she can accept that and move forward and not let it get to the point where, well, he's out of the puzzle now.
Yeah.
So that's my addition
That's
to
awesome.
the belonging.
I absolutely love it. I think we're off to a good start.
Yeah, warm and cozy so far.
Yeah.
Let's see how Mr. Vozly can mess it
I
up.
know. Let's see where the curveball is.
Let's ding me.
That beautiful snow outside is getting snow covered on the roads, and it's getting icy.
What happens when belonging becomes absent?
Oh my gosh! There's a I was gonna say blanking here. I'm doing a what's his name from the poor guy from the Patriots. Did you see him on the football show the other day? Marvin Harrison just blanking.
No, I didn't.
It's just he just blanked. I feel bad. I hope he's okay. He
Oh, boy.
blanked like I am right now.
Oh, I didn't watch the video, but yeah, I heard about
Marvin
that.
Harrison.
Yeah.
That wasn't Harrison, but you know who I mean.
Yeah.
He was just. That's what I felt like right there. I was like,
They're like on the field, right?
They were talking, and he was like at the desk on the field, and he just stopped and he goes, and he was like, wow. So I just did one of those.
Well, allow me then.
Yes, please.
So when your sense of belonging is gone or taken, I feel like it is replaced with a sense of disorientation. Mm-hmm. Like you're lost. And when you feel lost, you feel less stable. What of your words here? At dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And your focus starts to revolve around trying to find ways to not feel lost. So it could be a void that you're filling with things that you're not really sure if they're going to work or not, but you need that sense of belonging, so you're going to try and fill it. And I think I can cite each of our previous 4 movies here that demonstrate this. So we watched The Ritual, right, for our first movie this season.
Yeah.
In The Ritual, our main character, Luke, starts to lose his friendships. Seemingly the only people in his life, because he's got no wife or kids compared to the other folks in his friend circle. He begins to lose these people at the same time that they literally get lost in the forest. We get the thought that his sense of belonging starts to unravel the moment a piece of his social circle is murdered in the opening scene. Mm-hmm. Of course, we get feelings of fear and anxiety for the rest of the movie as Luke tries to get out of the forest of grief, as we described it. I think there's a connection there, too, of grief affecting your sense of belonging and losing pieces of your life that give you that sense of belonging. Does that make sense so far with The Ritual? And then we watched Talk to Me. So Talk to Me, we had Mia, and we've referenced her quite often this season. She's on a downward spiral ever since losing her mom. She seems to be one of the least stable characters that we've discussed on the podcast.
For sure.
She can't tell what's real. She's hurt the ones that have been there for her after this trauma. And she's been led on a trail deeper into the darkness, trying to chase the sense of belonging that her mom used to give her. Anything else from Talk to Me?
Well, you see just how, I know you're going to get to it, but you see just how damaging and damaged one gets when you lose it. As you lose that sense of belonging, you lose that foundation, you lose that place and that person or that feeling of belonging. How I like the way you said it, how desperate you are to fill that up, to not feel like you don't belong.
Right. Where do I belong? I need to find a new
honest to
home
goodness,
base.
Boy, that is when people say, even your barometer is really, really on. It's a wonderful thing. I like to feel. I like to feel joy. I like to feel all of it. Yes. I'm a big feelings guy. Thankfully, we're not on YouTube right now. We're just in audio. But like when it's absent, though, I don't mind feeling the feels. I would rather feel the lows and just be baseline. But man, when you're a feelings person, the less you belong, it hits you hard. Mm-hmm. If people go for coffee and don't fire you a text to go for coffee, that can hurt more than physical pain of getting kicked in the shins or something, you know.
Right.
Someone does this, even a conversation in a room. This is one of the part of being hearing impaired, is when the conversation is going, you're like, oh, okay. And I got a fight from that when that point happened. Like, they're not trying to exclude me. I just can't hear what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And that happened. I was at a hockey game with some friends the other day, and I actually told both friends because I didn't want them to think I was being weird. So I said, just letting you know, I kind of tuned out because I didn't have a chance of hearing that. And you folks were talking, and I support that. I'm for happiness and conversation. But I had to protect myself. I didn't want to look like I was on the outside saying, hey, guys, what are we talking about here? I want to belong. I want to fit. And I had to explain to them what was happening. And I just spent the last hour telling Voz about my new hearing aids and how awesome it is because I can feel like I belong in conversations now in any room now. And even ones I shouldn't be in, I can probably hear them.
Isn't that funny how that works out? You get this new sense. And
it's the oddest thing that it fits right into the pod right now.
Well, the next movie we watched was Midsommar, and we had Florence Pugh play Danny. Mm-hmm. And I think that performance is one of the most grief-stricken performances I've seen in the movie.
For sure.
The first thing we see is her sense of belonging being completely destroyed. Mm-hmm. Her sister and her parents all killed. Her friends and boyfriend, complete sham. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't actually support her, it seems. And eerily similar to The Ritual, Danny ends up in some isolated, ritualistic Swedish village.
The poor Swedes. What they do to deserve any of this?
I thought they were peaceful.
They seem so peaceful. I mean, Rasmus Dahlin.
Well, no wonder they're peaceful. They sacrifice people for their peace.
It really, really quenches that bloodlust. Throwing people off towers. Nothing gives peace like ritualistic sex.
You're telling me. Not me, a guy I
know. This has been Two Idiots in the Box.
So Luke in The Ritual searches for a way out, right, to no longer be lost, while Danny searches for a sense of empathy and belonging to no longer be emotionally lost. Mm-hmm. How do you like those? The connection there so far?
It's really good.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We had Neil and Del. And this was our movie for isolation, so obviously we can point out that their sense of belonging have been compromised. Mm-hmm. Del is trying to establish a new social circle, while Neil is trying to return to his. Both are traversing across the country, not knowing exactly when or how they're going to get to where they need to go. What do you notice about Planes, Trains, Automobiles?
Well, just your phrasing there makes me feel like there's real depth to this conversation with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because you said where they need to go. And I feel like that whole movie is about the definition of home, mm-hmm. right? They just can't seem to get home. Not just where they need to go, but like they need to get home. Belonging is home, right? Whatever that be, whatever it is. I remember saying to people all the time, man, I miss being home. But not like home the way I remember. Home the way I idealize it, I guess. Home, with everybody there. I feel this way about the school I used to work at, Stevenson. It was home. That was home. That's where I wanted to retire. I was there for 12 years. Loved it. It was Shangri-La. We were a family. We were a team. We didn't do perfect, but our students were loved. Our community, we loved our community. We were a team all pulling in the right direction. We did things for the right reasons. Everybody went above and beyond. And I mean, students did. Parents did. Teachers did. Administrators did. Everybody did. It was a place unlike any other. Then I got transferred to high school. And meanwhile, as this is happening, maybe half dozen of my closest colleagues retired. from Stevenson. And so and then the others went to the other school, which is great. And they were all fine. And now many of them have retired. And it turns out I'm getting old, right? And so I love my job now. I love my bosses. I love my colleagues, my students. Love it. And you have to pay me a lot to go back if you wanted me to go back. But I long for home. I long for Stevenson. I long for that sense of community. But it doesn't exist anymore. Not only is the building closed, so that doesn't exist, but the people that I used to work with that made it magical are retired and doing other things. The students that were there are now coming to my barbershop with their children. So home in that snapshot of what I felt like was the most belonging place. And again, I'm turning it to planes, trains, and automobiles because Dell is striving to get to this place, and he's trying to seemingly fill things with, I want that warmth again. I want to capture that feeling of belonging again. Knowing he can't, which is, that's what makes the movie so sad for me, is he's pitching all these things to keep Neil in his life as long as he can, because once he goes, he knows he doesn't have that anymore, and he's just.
And for me, one of the sadder points about that too is realizing that this isn't the first person that he's trying to open up to.
Right.
You know, he knows that he's a handful, and he's when he's outside of the motel in the car frame, and he's talking to his wife, in the air, and. Basically, I scared another one away.
Yeah.
It was this one I really liked too.
It's a really sad scene that the slapstick of it almost robbed it for about a decade or two from me until we sat and watched it. And I was like, that movie was like, that scene almost made me cry because I'm like, it's kind of the moment where he's lost his solid ground.
Right.
He's looking desperately for it. Poor guy.
Now, we didn't watch this next movie for the podcast, but there's an exchange between Woody and Buzz in Toy Story that I think perfectly describes the feeling of being lost when your sense of belonging is taken away. So Woody is arguing with Buzz after being stranded. I think they're underneath the semi. And so Woody's like, this is a perfect time to panic. I'm lost. Andy's gone. They're going to move from their house in 2 days, and it's all your fault. And Buzz is like, my fault? If you hadn't pushed me out of the window in the first place. And Woody cuts him off. Oh, yeah? Well, if you hadn't shown up with your stupid little cardboard spaceship and taken away everything that was important to me. That right there is the feeling I feel like. That you know where you belong. You know where your home base is. And when it's taken away, there's confusion, anger, a sense of loss or being lost. And like you said, not knowing if you're ever going to get it back.
Yeah.
And that in this moment with Woody becomes the most important thing to him is belonging back in that bedroom. That's going to sound weird with phrasing. In that bedroom with Andy.
Yeah, right. But honestly, I mean, think about that though, like the power of that scene. And I keep going back to teacher. As a teacher working with young kids who have been picked up and moved, or they're from a split home or something, or they got to move districts, or maybe a military kid. And we're asking these little precious kiddos to be pulled and put back into a school. And then as teachers, we have the guts to say, what's wrong with this kid? They're distracted. There's something going on here. They're not doing their work. And I think to myself, this is really close to home for me because I've dealt with that this year and every year that I've been a teacher. You get certain teachers that it's like they'll pound them over the head. Like, what's wrong with this kid? Emails to everybody. I don't know. This kid's not doing it. I'm like, do you realize that feeling that Woody felt right there, voiced by an adult, just regular voice actor, Tom Hanks? These kids feel that, and they don't have the tools to make it make sense. They just know that I don't belong here. Everything that I identify with is gone now, and I'm in a new place. And maybe they'll be in another place in a few months. People that are struggling with belonging need support. Anyway, that's a commercial for that. I'll stop. But I feel like what I want to do with this episode, and again, I don't have a bunch of notes, but make application to our world, to our life, like how when that's missing, it can look like this in film, but in real life, here's really what it does the same thing to us. And if you don't remedy it or address it, it can pull you to places like from Talk to Me. You'd be like Mia down the rabbit hole, doing everything you can to fill that belonging with stuff that isn't helping you.
Right.
And we see that in our families, in our community. We could have Doc Tonema on here talking about wellness and generational trauma, and look about being displaced.
I'd love to have him on too if you're listening to this.
If he dares listen to one of these.
Now, so each of these examples from movies, the characters all have a home base or are in need of home base to give them that sense of belonging. If that home base is taken away or threatened, we see these characters start to feel lost, disoriented, and certain emotional priorities seem to start to take over their personality.
Wow.
I need to feel loved. I need acceptance. I need friendship. I need to not feel lost. People no longer seem like themselves because of that new emotional priority. Now I ask you, because I know you said you blanked at the start there, so I'll ask again what you think. Could be similar, but we'll see. So what happens when that sense of belonging becomes absent?
Yeah, you reaching to fill it, right? Reaching to fulfill how it felt when you did belong. Just reaching, and it's, again, I don't want to be preachy, but like the idea of the God-shaped hole, right, in your heart. It's like, from a faith standpoint, because it's the only perspective I have, that belonging, that safety, that identity that you have in faith. When you walk away from your faith, right, and you try to fill it like a prodigal son type thing, you try to fill it with all these things. None of those things can fill that spot. Try as you might, though, and there are people try for decades, and try for their entire lifetime. And the thing is, you can see it. I mean, we don't talk about it, but you can usually see it as someone's trying to fill with this, and they're, all right, I'm fine. I don't need that. I'm going to fill it with this and that. I don't need my family. I'm going to fill it with this and this. And to different levels of success, but very often to different levels of their own demise, trying to fill those spots of belonging with alcohol or drugs or sex maybe, or fill it up with distraction. Fill it up with just like distraction.
And it could be not even as damaging as those things you laid out, but like hobbies or something that seems completely healthy. Like, they like to exercise.
Or even like food. I would speak from my own experience, man. Like my comfort food, man.
Right.
I'm gonna fill it up. I feel fine.
Can of corn, I'll be all right.
Right. Honestly, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Give me my, like all those things, man. Doing those things to excess, and you talk about both ends of the spectrum, exercise and food, man. I'm right there with both of those, and at different times trying to fill, and sometimes, right, they are good ways of blowing off steam. Maybe when you don't feel like you belong in a moment, maybe someone ticks you off, and you're like, well, I hope they're happy, and you go work out, or you're like, you have your half gallon of ice cream as you're grieving, as maybe a friend who's been a friend a long time lets you down. You're like, well, okay, fine, go ahead, have a blast. I got my hot fudge, my ice cream here.
Right.
I mean, I think in the small little micro, I think it's perfectly fine, perfectly human nature to. I'm gonna go exercise, go lift, get a personal best lift in here because I'm ticked off. Yeah.
And I feel like that borders issues of confidence also. When something like that, friends blow you off, or your family ditches you, or something like that. Maybe you start to think, am I good enough? Do I look good enough?
Honestly.
Why aren't I accepted? And
what is my flaw?
Okay, well, I'm going to spend 6 hours a day at the gym. I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna, whatever it might be. You try to fill that void next with. Well,
I am a case study for all of this. The more we talk, man, I'm just like, the word insecurity comes from. That's the word that I was afraid to use, but I got lost in the very beginning when you brought up, because it's a hard word for me because I live in that. When I don't feel a sense of belonging and safety, like just rock solid. This is my group. This is my friend group. This is my family. This is my my faith, when insecurity comes in.
I think that's the word right there,
And
insecurity.
just wreaks havoc on me. All the negative things about Kmax that can come out when I feel insecure. Yeah. Anybody knows me knows when I start blinking, boy.
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
Anybody knows me knows Abe Lincoln.
Well, we uncovered our word there.
There it is.
Let's uncover a ding, K-Max.
All right. It is the weekend.
No K on that. We're going to talk about some movies that show improved health after getting a sense of belonging and what kind of issues were fixed in those movies.
Wonderful.
So I'll just kind of go through.
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll chip in a little here and there.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. We'll start there.
Yeah.
It's freshest in our minds too. After the journey both men are on, they finally get to settle down. They've come to their resting point when they can both say, I found my home base. And in terms of what this fixed, they're calm, they're centered. We don't see tension anymore. No erratic behavior or anxiety. They're no longer lost. It almost feels like we don't actually know the true versions of their characters until that point.
Isn't that true?
And they're no longer on edge. And I think it's captured very well in the movie because they're on this road that leads directly to the house. They're walking on the road on this path. They're finally on the right track. You had all these different ways of transportation shown throughout the movie, and they're finally just walking on the road. It's a direct route right to the house, and that's where their home base is.
They're carrying the chest now that looked unbearably heavy. Now it looks like it's just uniting them comfortably.
What are your thoughts on the issues and once their sense of belonging was?
Well, if you look at Neil's character, I think because sometimes Del is the focal point, right? He seems to be the, we talked about it last time, he's like kind of the focal point that you can see the foil, the mirror that you can see the main character of Neil. You can see his transformation. Well, I think that the person that you see the biggest transformation in isn't, to me, Del, it's Neil, right? And so at the end when he has that piece about him, when he comes back, he's on the train and he realizes this guy's alone. I'm a kind of a narrow jerk. I have this beautiful family waiting for me, and he's got nothing. Now you see who Neil is at his best day. You see who Neil is when he feels that belonging, when he's not insecure, right? When he's not insecure.
And he walks in the house, and it's not like, I've had the worst day, and throwing stuff around. It's
looks like
I'd like you meet someone.
Everybody in his house, look at what it does to his whole family. They all feel it. When he feels centered again, when he feels like he's fits there, he's his best self.
He's definitely like a puzzle piece because he walks in and his in-laws come, his wife and kids come, and they just kind of come around him. So I'll stay in the holiday mindset here.
Do it.
And bring up Home Alone.
So
Kevin's a little jerk.
For sure.
He gets left behind while everyone goes to Paris, and in that time realizes a few things. He's got the house all to himself, but it's not a home without family. Gives the title a little extra meaning there, I think. And then especially with the two thugs threatening the home, he takes a stance to accept its importance to him and a responsibility to protect what's left.
That's right.
Kevin realizes how much his family, and especially his mom, means to him, and he's a better son because of it. And I think his mom learns a little bit too about making sure her child feels loved. The mother-son relationship is being fixed there, I think, and especially the son's outlook on his own family, and Kevin learning a little bit of what's important in life, and that has shown vast improvement.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Home Alone?
Well, I mean, just the it's funny how the comedies, they lend to the absurd, right? But even in absurd situations, sometimes you learn some of the best lessons. And both 1 and 2, I don't look beyond 1 and 2, by the way, right? 1 and 2 are those are canon. Anything outside of that is all doesn't fit the world of Home Alone. I'm very protective of these things, but like you really see it, like you like in a slapstick way. But even like in Home Alone 2 with the homeless woman, and Home Alone 1 with the neighbor next door, there you see when he finds a little bit of sense of belonging again with those people, like kind of substituting for his real family. And then when he hears his mom's voice, everything else, all the animosity, all of the selfishness that both of them had melts away, because they both see the value of, you're my mom, I belong to you. You're my son, you belong to me. And quick commercial again. I am the man of commercials. In this cynical, sarcastic world we live in, where belonging to someone is just not a term of endearment, it's a ownership. It is a nasty, narrow-minded way of looking. I thank God that I belong to him. I thank God that I belong to my family, that my friends feel like, yeah, that's my guy right there. That's my buddy. That there's a mild ownership of each other, because it's like a stewardship more than ownership, right? So my children, you're my kid. Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm not just like you. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you being mine, there's some safety there. There is some shadow there. There is some shared resources, shared experience. There is some, you will never lose my love. You know what I mean? You belong to me. And in a world that just seems to fight that, oh, well, the wife belongs to the husband. How dare you own this? But there's a team. There's a safety there. There is a connection there. And it's funny because like God gives us the example of that. Like, you belong to me, and you're in my hand, and no one's going to hurt you. You're in my hand, and you're in the shadow of the.
For you.
You're in the. You are in the shadow of the Almighty. You are in the cleft. I'm holding you close to myself. So it's not like ownership and limiting you. It's, I care for you, and I am there for you. I have your back. So I hate having to dumb down the beautiful language for the world to understand how love and belonging works and how awesome it is.
That's important that you point that out, because I do think that a lot of people get a negative connotation with the he belongs to her. Oh, okay. What was this, 1950 or whatever?
Yeah. It's like if you're my child, or if you're my person, if you're my brother or my sister, or if you're my friend, you're like, you pledge allegiance to be one of those guys or not like that. I'm like, no, I'm happy to belong to this. I belong to, I have a membership of this. I belong to the Sanborn Businessmen's Bowling League. There's a kinship there. There's a shared experience there. There's a safety there. There's a comfort there. It's like seemingly sometimes that society takes beautiful, wholesome terms and in a way corrupts them, because there are outliers of corruption in those ownership. You see an abusive relationship. Get over here, you're mine. Yeah, of course that exists, and of course that's disgusting, right? I mean, anybody that thinks otherwise is they have abnormalities there. They have some problems. But by and large, that ownership is not a nasty thing. It's a beautiful transaction. It is a nice symbiotic relationship of, there's comfort here. I am, what was it? They'll use the friends line. The friends line is, these lobsters mate for life or whatever. And,
yeah.
And then with Ross and Rachel, and PB sitting there in her silliness, she goes, she's his lobster.
Yeah.
You didn't see anybody get all mad about that. Oh, she's not anybody. She's her own person. The lobster likes to be someone else's lobster there. It's a comforting, belonging thing. So, I don't know. I always go on these tangents, but man, belonging and ownership is a nice thing, because someone belongs to someone and they're well-adjusted human adults. You know what that means. They're the best you can.
I'm glad you pointed that out, though, because certainly there's going to be people that hear this and think, oh, what a bunch of old heads,
Yeah, well, yeah.
So it's important to kind of bridge that gap a little bit. And
And again, I always say, without saying look at us, we're the perfect at this. I am the least perfect at any of this, but doesn't change what I believe to be true. It doesn't change the fact that I'm not great at it in some ways.
I like, too, that in Home Alone, I'm noticing more and more in Christmas movies, there's a lot of borrowed things from, like, Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So you have a lot of, like, Ghost of Christmas Future. I took from that in our first season. But Kevin talking with the older guy, like, oh, this guy had an argument with his family also, and it ended up in him being alone by himself, being viewed as a monster by his neighbors.
Home Alone. He is Home Alone for life.
So it took Kevin seeing that from a different perspective to realize, oh, maybe this isn't something to fight over, and I should get over myself.
I love that Ghost of Christmas Future idea because you steal it a lot. It's all over the place. Mm-hmm. I like the way you used it. Train to Busan is the first time we heard it from you.
I'm going to go with another heartwarmer here. Coco.
Oh, beauty.
So right from the start, Miguel did not completely feel like he belonged.
No.
He couldn't be himself with his family. He had to have a secret room where he could actually enjoy the hobbies without being punished or judged. Hector, almost a nomad in the afterlife, wandering, hoping his family can forgive him so he can belong to his family again. I think it's easy to see that when this family resolves its differences and forgives, the family's fixed. Mm-hmm. Across generations, too. The belonging with each of its family members is reestablished, and as I mentioned earlier, allows for someone to be themselves again. I'll read my quote from earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You feel valued, you don't feel judged, and you feel like you can contribute to a shared happiness. You can apologize if you've done wrong. You can celebrate together when you succeed. You strive to improve yourself for the group. You lift up and get lifted by. You're each other's safety net. And I think that's exactly what we see at the end of Coco there.
What a beautiful story. And the beauty of film, though, is to be able to use a beautiful day like Dia de Muertos. You wouldn't be able to show that afterlife striving and forgiveness and seeing generations ahead and behind celebrating together and having a better experience because of forgiveness and because of their togetherness without being able to show these ghosties, enjoying it with them, like laughing with them and playing songs with them. I love that movie.
Apparently, it's one of our most influential movies.
Yeah, we cite it all the time.
So speaking of influential movies, Kmax, I want you to reach back from our very first episode.
Okay.
Remember, you gave us 3 of your most influential movies. Mm-hmm. And you listed Forrest Gump, Tombstone, and Oppenheimer.
Yep.
I want you to pick one of those movies and tell me, where do we see belonging and how did it improve the characters in that story?
Beautiful. I'm gonna go Forrest Gump. I go Forrest Gump for pluses and minuses. I have very close friends who love the movie with me, and I have another friend who hates the movie with me. But with me, as again, I don't care if you love it or hate it, but you're with me watching it and enjoying it. Forrest Gump. I think his true north was always Jenny. That's who he felt like he belonged with. For better or worse, he always felt like you're my girl, right? And real world, he had some problems and some issues, right? But he look at why he did so much of what he did. And I'm not sure how healthy all this is. That he obsessed about this relationship with his kid friend, right?
Right.
So I want to be clear about that. I'm not being blind to the idea that, but it is a movie. But he always saw her as his, and he did all these things because they were the right things to do, from college to Vietnam to business to all these. They just seem like the right thing. He always made the choice. This is the right thing to do. The right thing to do. But he never seemed to fit. And again, it's a film, so all we see where they funnel us to see.
Yeah.
He was married to Jenny, and they had the little boy. And then even after he buried her, now he fits more of who he feels more at home talking to her. Even when she's passed away, he looks like he's more at peace and more belonging. He's more able to be who he is in that moment, like a husband, a father. Even though she's gone, he's still more complete than he was the rest of his life. I feel like he found home when she came through the door again. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know how healthy that is, being someone who sometimes I get angry with her throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
and I even bitterness that I have a friend, I won't even bring up her name. She just hates the movie. She loves Tom Hanks and loves a lot of things about the movie, but just hates it, the fact that how Jenny uses him. She just like, oh, now you're going to let him into your life after he's pined for you his whole life and great cost to himself, and but I'm thinking in his world, he is home. He belongs here. She belongs there, and there is some emotional, cognitive, there is some delays that he has. He has a little bit of disability, and so yeah, we can forgive him that he holds out hope too much, or maybe that he believes that this is the way it should be. In my head, this is, you are supposed to be with me. Like, why are you going there? Why would you do this? Why would you be on the stage singing? Why would you be out here? Why are you with this guy who punched you near the bus? Why are you? You should be here with me. So, in his head, he's belonging. This is where I belong. I'm back in Alabama, living in my mom's house with Jenny. Mm-hmm. We have a kid. I just feel like he had peace. I think people feel a lot of ways about this, but at the end, when he's saying, Jenny, he's, Forrest did this today, and he did this, and he's so smart, Jenny, and he's just so. I don't feel like he had peace until then, till he was with Jenny again. So, I think his belonging there. He met the president, for crying out loud, but he still didn't belong there. He was the star at Alabama. He still didn't belong on that team.
That's he's partaken in all these important events in history and has all these accomplishments, but they're just one right after another to him. It's just, okay, well, that was fine,
Ping pong champion of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, that was cool. That was a chapter.
But what he longed for is belonging with who he thought was his true love. And, as for people that can't get past how Jenny treated him, that's part of belonging, though, is that acceptance. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to do wrong if you belong in a group. Mm-hmm. If you belong to whoever you get that sense of belonging with.
Yeah. So
that's Forrest Gump's character is seeing that she's making mistakes and realizing she'll, that's just a time in her life. She'll, because we're meant for each other.
That's it.
We'll get together.
In an honorable mention to Doc Holliday, where Wyatt Earp's playing cards with him, and he goes, "Hell, Doc, I got a lot of friends." Mm-hmm. He goes, "I don't." Mm-hmm. That's his friend group. That is Wyatt is his true north. Wyatt is his home. Mm-hmm. And he's playing cards with him on his deathbed. As
small a home as that might be, one person, one friend, not even a spouse or children, just one friend.
So, folks out there, it doesn't matter. They don't matter. Yeah, it does matter in you, but you do matter. You know what I mean? Commercial for you during the holidays. Holidays are tough sometimes. They're awesome. They're tough. And you matter a ton. That person might not have the guts to tell you how much you matter to them, but you do. So I think Doc Holliday, that would be we could go into it more, but that's a good one. I thought, that whole movie, and you look at the things he does to show that kinship, that belonging.
Yeah, won't always say it, but you can see in the reactions to when Wyatt is there with him, you see it in the reactions to when Wyatt isn't there with him, and I think that relates to real life too. especially for us manly men who have trouble saying things nice.
We're so doggone masculine
to fellow friends,
especially here in this room. Boy, we're just men's men. We're just so doggone tough. Our gruff exterior.
But you see it, like, even with friends, if they say, oh, I don't need to do that with that person, you can see it in the reaction that your buddy might have. Like, oh, he does value me quite a bit because I didn't, do whatever. If I didn't go with it, or I didn't invite, or whatever it might be.
That's kind of fun. Picking on specific movie.
There's a lot of... I feel like this season could also speak on the, a previous season was how universal the human experience is, and I think it's almost an extension of that so far. But if I had to do the same with my 3 influential movies, I think I'd go with The Nightmare Before Christmas. It mirrors a ton of how I felt in the past few episodes here. Jack Skellington thinking that he's alone among his community, having feelings of unfulfillment, and after seeking other outlets, he comes to the realization that he's really not alone. These people, or monsters, skeletons, vampires, whatever, they're his family. Sally loves him for who he is, and he sees that by leaving his home base behind. He's infringing on other people's senses of belonging. I mean, visually, you see the difference, right? You see the intrusion when a kid pulls a shrunken head out of a gift box. Like, just a perversion of what Jack sees. Oh, yeah, this will make you happy. But Jack gets a newfound appreciation for the belonging that he already had with his own holiday or Halloween town. So that's improved. Again, perspective, I think, is a lot of what improves in these movies.
That's true.
Sometimes very difficult to obtain, and sometimes you have to steal Christmas to get it. I'm looking at you too, Grinch.
Yes.
So any other thoughts on this chapter here?
Man, I'll tell you right now, Christmas movies lend themselves to this idea of belonging, don't they? So, you did Nightmare Before Christmas and then The Grinch. There's a dozen more that can fit right in there. Like, I'm looking at you, It's probably why they were so awesome.
All right, Kmax. Is a sense of belonging the most comforting thing we can feel? And is this reflected in movie watching experiences?
Oh, yes. And it is. So here's my homework version. Yes and yes. Because, again, let's remember, my middle name is Yummy Payoff, see? And my nickname in college. No, it's not true. I do like the instant feed me now feedback that a movie can give me. And I seldom dive into deeper movies with deeper meaning, but that's breaking down a little bit. I find myself leaning in a little bit more toward challenging movies. But my wheelhouse is still the easy payoff. Give me I want to feel good. I want to feel nice. And and a lot of the movies that I gravitate toward are movies that, man, look at that. He found his place. He found his people, and now look at him thrive. I find myself being that person, wanting that that's why I'm a teacher. I love to see kids find their wheelhouse. And it might not be their first chosen wheelhouse. It might not be their second. Maybe they stepped out of their comfort zone. They find their tribe. And that's how I encourage kids all the time. Encourage my own children this way. You're having trouble with your high school people. This might not be your people. These are your peers. This is your cohort.
Right.
You might find your people at college. You might find them in the military. You might find them in the workplace. You might find them at church or on the mission field. You might find them in the community. You might find them on a team. You might find them playing a board game. You might find them online playing games. You will find your people. You will find each other, and things will make sense. It'll happen. It'll click. Well, I can't find a person. Believe it or not, you're going to find your person, and it'll make sense. How? I don't know. You know, I mean, what's the magic juice? I don't know that.
Well,
Be your most authentic self.
well, I mean, what I'll tell you though is that that's part of the importance of human interaction.
Yeah.
You're not going to find those people if you don't interact with people.
Right. Like,
You're not going to find that sense of belonging. I mean, there are people that don't want anything to do with anybody whatsoever, but for the other 99.9% of us that want people in our lives that care about us, you're not going to find that unless you're interacting with people.
I mean, it's funny
spending
that
time with them.
I tell a lot of folks, like, again, I only have my own perspectives, like at church, and then working with youth and with elderly. I don't usually work with well-adjusted adults. they got it all figured out. They don't need any of the guidance or direction, right?
Right.
But with the youth and the elderly, there's a verse, and it just says, "If a man wants friends, he must show himself to be friendly." And I think that to myself, I'm like, well, are you being friendly? Are you putting yourself out there a little bit?
Right.
And I think those folks who prefer to be a little more isolated and to be a little bit more selective in who they hang out with, I think that might be a little bit more challenging to find your people, but I still contend to the fact that you still find your people. Mm-hmm. You might find other like-minded people who would not prefer to be out there throwing themselves out there and, what I say, Kmaxing it, talking nonstop and on the stage hosting things or overextending myself to podcasts, playing music, to writing, to that spectrum flows that way too. This thrill-seeking it out there, making friends everywhere. There might be some dis-ease to that. There might be a little bit of, not disorder, but there might be a little bit of compensating there. I'm speaking from experience. There, spoiler alert, there is.
I know from experience.
And I know because I was there. Well, no, I wasn't, but I was there, and you should have heard. But you know what I mean? Like, so there's a continuum there of isolated folks who don't really get out there as much. I'd contend that maybe they get out there, but they're just more selective, and their people are probably very similar to that. You know what I mean? But I think maybe you increase your instances if you're more out there of finding your tribe. Well, maybe you find your little tribe, and this is just my little corner of the world, and I like it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, maybe your puzzle is only 4 pieces big.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. And anxiety might come with a 5-piece puzzle or a 20-piece puzzle. Mm-hmm. We're all wired differently, man. I'm so wired. I just feel like my puzzle just... I like other puzzles to click and somehow latch onto my puzzle, somehow peripherally, to use your example. I like to have all these different puzzles kind of fit in. I like my Tuscarora community.
Like your puzzle could be lifted and fit in other puzzles.
I like to hope so. I like a big church and then like the traditional community on the reservation. I like when those puzzles interact and fit because I love people. And I like when they fit because there's more fitting pieces than unfitting pieces, and people focus on the pieces that don't fit, and that's fine. They can, but I don't have to. I focus on the pieces that fit, and that help me love people and help me love my neighbors and get along with my neighbors, rather than the pieces that don't fit and make me at odds with people. I think it's a choice. It's a choice perspective for me. I want those puzzles to fit.
I think it's important too. I mentioned people that don't want any interaction, and I think just take one step back and see if you actually don't, because there may be people out there that think that, but then they come home to one other person, or they go take care of certain people, or they have friends that they go hang out with once a week, or anything along those lines. And you think, well, that's belonging right there. You're just not making the connection. I hope that anyone that thinks that they want to be completely alone, just take note of the people that are in your life, and maybe think, maybe that is my circle. Maybe that is who I belong with. Yeah. And these puzzle pieces don't have to be right next to each other. Maybe there's a little border in between them because you like some space.
Yeah.
But there's still people in your life that are there because you keep them in your life.
See, I like that a lot. I feel like that speaks to a huge community of people. And like the way you said that, it speaks to a lot of folks who just roll differently than I roll. You know what I mean? I like my pieces of puzzle to fit nice and snug. And there's people that just really would rather have it fit and float, that it floats. It's a floating piece because they're just wired differently than me, you know? But again, we're only two guys with two perspectives here.
Yeah, just two.
Should be three at least, but at least two here.
Looking at you, Grinch. I mean, Tin Man.
We need that heart to grow 3 sizes at least.
You know, he. I think he had his surgery. No,
I think
or
so.
Is it coming up?
He either did or it's nigh. Speaking of nigh, my Benjamin has his road test Tuesday. Yes.
In this weather, in this climate.
Everybody, pray for Benjamin.
Luckily enough, I will be home that day.
You'll be welding roll cages onto your vehicles.
I hope I'm safe.
Oh, this room's pretty close to the road. Oh, Benjamin, I love you forever.
So if I'm to come at this question from a different point of view, it feels foreign. Is the sense of belonging the most comforting thing we can feel? And I would ask myself, is there anything else, or does it not feel the most comforting? So when I ask myself that, am I ever okay with not feeling like I belong? I mean, there's groups out there that I'd rather not be involved in, but I do need some sort of group I belong in. Most of the time it's family. It's family that are also friends. It's friends that I treat as family. It's people that share many of my same values. If I need comfort, where else would I turn? Where else can I be myself and be happy and be supported, if not with other people I belong with? Can I be myself when I'm completely alone? Sure. But to me, the level of happiness and comfort does not compare. And in that context, in the context of our movie podcast, I would say we do not get a ton of movies where we see a character become happier without any human interaction. I would say the more bonded we see a character become with others, the more it radiates comfort to our viewing experience.
I like that, to our viewing experience. Yep, because most people can relate well to that.
So you see a big happy ending. What happened in that happy ending? Well, he got with the girl. He found his family. He fell in love. She accomplished something. They ended up together. That whatever it might be.
I think while you were sleeping, she finds her people, the people she wouldn't have chose probably.
Any happy ending, it's hard to think of it as without a sense of belonging. You got movies where someone's searching for their family or lost, throughout the portion of the movie, and they find each other again at the end. That's all belonging right there. There are a ton of other things in life that make us feel comfort, and we are all unique in that sense. But it is part of the human experience and our nature to seek that sense of belonging. It's fundamental, I think, for humans, right? That's a human need to search that sense of belonging. So yes, I think it is the most comforting thing that we can feel. A hug from your parents, a birthday party, a holiday gathering, a bedtime story with your parents, wedding, birth of a child, laughter, receiving a gift, giving a gift, finding a significant other. All these warm and cozy things stem from that sense of belonging. And I think if you look at some of the saddest people and the saddest characters in movies, you'll probably notice a sense of belonging is something they're sorely missing, or they're unaware of how much they actually do belong. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think of I just watched the new Frankenstein on Netflix. Wonderful. Del Toro's. So far from Shelley's original, but what are you going to do? It's a movie, and it's a great movie, I think. But the creature just wanted to belong anywhere. I don't belong in the world of people. I don't belong with you. You're my father. You rejected me from the word go. And his hurt I mean, again, I've used this example throughout the last 3 or 4 episodes. to see the creature just mourn, and then it turned to rage. Like, I mean, we can go even further. That sense of not fitting in or belonging can turn to really nasty things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the school shooters and things, sadly, to bring up a really hard thing.
Yeah.
You hear their stories, and a lot of it comes from being bullied and just not fitting in anywhere.
Bullied, rejected.
Well, honestly, I think to myself, like the prevention model, for me, there's a lot of layers to it, obviously. One of them is to make sure that nobody in my presence, no student in school, feels alone or rejected. You'll see me in the hall. Again, I'm not perfect. I suck at a lot of things at teaching, but some things that I'm good at is on my way from class to another class, not one kid passes me without getting a good morning, how we doing? Hey, what's going on? Hey, I like the hair. Cool sweatshirt. Hey, did you see that band? Hey, I went to this concert back in the 90s. You should have heard this. With every kid that walks by, especially the kid that sits with his head down, whatever, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with being that kid with your head down, wearing a concert shirt. I'm not saying that. I was that one. You wouldn't believe this, but I was at one point that kid with the Doc and jean jacket walking down the hall.
I was going to say with that ABBA t-shirt.
Right, yeah, of course. I have one. But honestly, right, you look at how, Victor Frankenstein, what he did to the creature and what society did to the creature created a monstrosity that never would have been, but through neglect and making him feel isolated. And in his desperation to belong, he found something. Gang membership is a sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a nasty, scary thing.
People trying to find that void in their life.
I want to find places that accept me, that I feel accepted, I feel safe, that I feel cool, that I feel seen.
What a perversion of what we said too. Like you could feel success with one another and contribute to something.
Mm-hmm.
And gang violence, that sort of thing. It takes those words and does it, but it's not right.
Right. Honestly, I mean, when I think of how films do that and make you feel a certain way, that feeling, people, again, goes back to, you'll try to fill it with other things. And there are things that'll take that audience and take that money and take that effort and take your life and say, yeah, all right, let's come down this rabbit hole.
Mm.
That's why addicts struggle so much too, because they want to feel that way again. They want to feel, or they don't want to feel the absence of that belonging.
Right.
I don't want to feel it. It hurts too bad.
Right. That void is too big.
Yeah.
How do I not even deal with this void?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I just don't want to have to deal with it. I want to feel it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to feel this way anymore. Well, describe how it is that you're feeling. And the very brave thing to say sometimes is that I don't belong, that I don't have people, that I don't fit in, it's a hard thing to admit.
It's a base level thing. Like I said, a fundamental human need that I think could help with a lot of issues that someone might have, of depression and anger, confusion. So I think once you start to find your tribe a little bit, maybe
I just freaking love that term, right,
yeah.
man? One of our listeners introduced me to that years ago, one who dabbles in psychiatry and psychology, and I'm just thought, that is exactly true. That's exactly what it is your tribe isn't sometimes your family or your team, or you find them,
I picture like when this person first introduced that idea to you, it was actually a derogatory. Why don't you go find your own tribe, huh?
So I see you're the only native teaching in this district. This is not your tribe. I like to tease people, like my non-native friends, a lot, and I'll say things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody knows me, that's why I always tell people, I hope there's equity in my relationship with you, so that you understand that I'm teasing or having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was in a car full of natives and one non-native, and they were talking about being lowest on the totem pole. And they stopped themselves, and I wanted to, of course, bust balls, right? But I'm like, this is a great person, and this is a person who would never say anything to harm or demean it. But my nature is to pick on that, right? But I'm like, it's a good person, But it's always funny, right? And so I always lean towards, I try not to be, in an effort not to be mean and nasty. If I feel like they're going to take it in a way that might make them uncomfortable, then I won't. But most of the time, I'll pick on people or joke with people about that. It's just funny.
All right. Well, let's go with a little conclusion then
All right.
for this episode anyway.
We're going to ding our way to a conclusion. Let's do it.
Yeah. Kmax, that bell is as crisp as ever.
Because we're optimistic, we're on an upswinging, and who doesn't like the idea of belonging, baby?
Yeah, we are. I think in my wave of, how this season is going, we'll reach a height around this time, and then I wouldn't say we're going down, but we go in. We take a Z. We got X, we got our Y, and now we're going Z.
Oh my goodness!
In a little bit.
Confuse me with math, you son of a gun. It's statistics.
So in our isolation episode, I asked of ourselves, is isolation a good thing or bad thing? I know we discussed how we sometimes need space to ourselves for our mental health. I would say the little times to ourselves that we need in order to recharge can be seen more as breaks and not real isolation.
Okay.
Because the connotation with isolation is, as we discussed it, negative. And the term you might use for these little breaks, or maybe I don't. We talked about the puzzle piece analogy, where sometimes you need a little bit of a border. You want your own space, and that's fine. And I think that term could be more like solitude. But we'll kind of sprinkle that in through the rest of the podcast.
Right.
But that the term isolation feels a little bit more like, something to have to deal with.
Yeah, like we talked about, like involuntary isolation, right?
So we have observed some characters that are isolated that don't get to say, I need a break, or just let me be for a few hours. Those are the characters that are really isolated, that they have no established connections that they can just return to. Like, oh, I need to go home for a bit, and then I'll come back out. That's all I have is home alone. No stable home base to rely on. Or it's a fractured or weak relationship with surrounding people, like Mia in Talk to Me, or Danny in Midsommar, where they don't have anything already set up for themselves. So what you get is not solitude, but isolation. Then we see a couple of characters on both sides of that boundary in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You have Neil with a home and family that he tries to return to. And then you have Del with no sense of home and no loved ones he can just return to.
Yeah.
Both characters are able to find their stability. Neil returns home, and Del finally gets his friend that accepts and supports him. So we get to this episode. Today we talked about the immense positivity that comes with togetherness and acceptance among others, belonging. So I say, let's revisit the question. Do you see isolation as good or bad, or has your view stayed the same?
Yeah. With isolation, I always think, right? I do see it as, for me, from my perspective, I am just bombarded with how I feel when I'm isolated, right? And it is a bad thing, because I feel like when I'm isolated, I don't belong for some reason. But when I look at the other side of it just as strongly, if I choose to isolate myself, I look at it as a immensely good thing. That's what vacation is for me. That's what a desert island is. That's what the fantasy of a big steel bathtub full of water and candles. I know I'm a big manly man here, but that idea of isolation, I know. I got trying to mute Boz's mic right now.
I'm trying to take out of my head right
now. I'm really trying to mute his mic right now, and I can't. But those things, that a good book and just shutting off the world, man, is one of the best things to me. And so when I think of isolation in that way, chosen isolation, what is the word?
I went with solitude.
Yeah. That when we use that term, that could be a whole episode of celebrating having and I like what you said too, having the choice to enact that of solitude. Whereas some people that can't choose it, that they are isolated. I think of the creature in Frankenstein. He wishes he had belonging or whatever, but all he has is solitude. that's a totally different thing, right? And I like drawing that line there. I'm real comfortable with that.
And because I think that's when
because one is beautiful
isolation.
and one is beautiful and one is ugly and sad to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To use another Kmax word this episode.
Oh my!
My original feeling is galvanized.
Wow, let's go, man! I feel smart when you use my words.
Isolation has been more appropriately framed in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And we can distinguish who is really being isolated and the difference between someone with a healthy social circle who just needs a break, some solitude, and someone truly isolated with a minimal or non-existent social circle. If I say I need a little time to myself, where am I actually? I'm in my home. I'm with my family. I'm on vacation with a bunch of people that also enjoy being on vacation, like Disney World. Now, I don't think I'd actually call that isolation, right? A little perspective that allows us, or at least me, to appreciate that I have the people in my life that I do, wife, children, parents, family, cousins, friends, and that if I ever feel isolated, it may just be that I'm not reaching out for the right grasp. So isolation, in the sense that I understand it now, cannot be a positive thing. And any time that I'm looking for time alone, I could see it more as solitude. Mm-hmm. I need a little time of solitude to myself to recharge. But knowing that where I'm recharging is in this home that's built on love and memories with the people I belong with. And it's not true isolation, at least the way that I understand it right now.
I do love the differentiation of solitude and isolation. Daryl used to talk about, we called the house, the Tonoma house, we used to call it the Fortress of Solitude. Because whether it was 2 people or 3 people, you, me, LP, and Deke, or whatever, we would talk about things, and we could be able to talk about things and be like, it is understood that nothing leaves these walls. We called it the Fortress of Solitude, which comes from, like, what was that, like a superheroes, like the League of Justice or something, the Fortress of Solitude. And they said that is so important. I just as much as I fear isolation, I do, if you know me, and there might be reasons why, I embrace solitude as just a lovely part of what I need to be. And solitude, for me, sometimes is away from my established belonging groups. I don't think that's bad. I think that's it's like the Lord himself walked away in the wilderness, had to get away, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And go into a place where he's just like, the people I love, mankind and the people I love, the apostles. He didn't say they're a bit much, but he had a preference, and he had this part of his spirit that is, I got to reset and recharge, and I got to refocus, and I got to find my center. Again, he didn't say all those things, right? But like that's how I feel when I go for a walk in the woods, or I get in a book, or I put my headphones on and go work out. Like I want to shut everything off, even those precious kiddos of mine and my best friends. I don't want to look at my phone. I want to unplug. That solitude is so precious. You know what I mean?
And that's why, for me to really feel both of these concepts, I had to differentiate, because for isolation, for me, it couldn't mean both things. It couldn't mean getting peace, and it couldn't mean feeling depressed that you don't belong with anybody. Mm-hmm. It couldn't mean both things. Right. Like I couldn't say that I feel isolated. Well, what do you mean? Do you mean you feel rested, or do you mean you feel sad and lonely? Right. So I had to split it apart a little bit and say there has to be I have to use these terms differently. I think, and that's the beauty of the English language, or any language, is vocabulary. Very often our breakdown with not just people, but like each other, is not even a disagreement in ideals. It is more just a limit of vocabulary. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really important I tell my students that all the time. We don't have the words to describe it, and that's why English matters. When I teach them words and expand their vocabulary, I'm trying to help you enjoy life more. I'm trying to help you
let people understand you better, because your voice is worth it. Your opinions matter. And the more you build your vocabulary, the more you build up your language skills, the more you can tell people, hey, listen, I don't like this, or hey, I like this, or hey, this matters. You know what I mean? So I celebrate the idea that by being able to grasp and say, I cannot use this word, like my word used to be like a workout. It was always a negative connotation to me. Like whenever someone said it, I thought, it's a must do. I have to do it. It's a necessary evil, right? It's okay. It's a must. It wasn't until like I dove into it and I gave it like a different term. I gave it a different term because Daryl was like, I have a workout. And I was like, oh, gross. And I was thinking, so you're going to go sit at the gym, you're going to go tune out for a couple hours, and you're going to go plug away from your family, away from us. I always felt like it was almost selfish. Then I got into it. I'm like, I call it different things. I'm going to go, I always say I'm going to go to the gym because I like going to the gym, or I feel like it's a spa day almost. Like it's a for me thing. And that change of mindset just shifted all the connotations in my head about it, and it became less of a have to, and Lord help me, it became more of a I want to do this thing, you know. And I'm kidding myself sometimes, but I gotta trick myself into it sometimes. So connotations matter a lot. So anyway, I'm got on a rabbit hole.
And I bring up this idea of solitude versus isolation because we'll kind of touch on it as we progress.
Good.
And maybe some unlikely spots, though. So we'll see how that happens. Kmax, that's all I got for today. Do you have anything to add?
I got to go to church. No, I love this. I love these conversations. You know me, I lean more toward the lead in the big topic discussions. As we get into the films and breakdown, I often feel like I'm limited because I'm I just have my one little lens. But talking about the macro, the big ideas, I love the conversations because where else do you get a chance to have chats like this? That matters so much, in my opinion. Like, everybody brings something different to the table, and we all expect different things from conversations and podcasts. From the word go, mine has been, I want people to be able to watch movies and learn and grow with me because I felt a bit of a novice of consuming film. And maybe there's people that have. There's been feedback that there have been people that have grown along with me. But also, I want people to get the macro, the big lessons that can come from 2 guys or 3 guys having honest conversations and being a little bit vulnerable and saying, yeah, I struggle with this, or I want to get better at this, or here's some things that are important, or it's okay to hurt and it's okay to feel like you don't belong. But be careful because you might do things that make you numb yourself or whatever. Be careful there. I don't know if there's any other places out there that aren't trying to tell you, and if you buy my book, we'll show you how to do it right. We're just sharing our stories and saying, so, if I was going to add anything in the conclusion of a hopeful episode like this is, I hope that there's someone out there that gets to see another side of themselves or gets to see another day because of our silly ramblings. Because you belong, and if you don't belong there, maybe find another group. Or I always tell every student that I have, you got at least one person that cares a great deal. And, you might not belong with me even, but, you belong to the collective. You are the brotherhood of man you belong to, at very least. At very least. So anyway, I'll ramble forever. It's a great topic, though.
All right, Kmax. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Happy to be here, man. It's the best.
The movie portion of this chapter is going to be Big Hero 6.
Oh, my.
Originally, we're going to have a third guest join us, but there are a lot of heavy things going on, not just in the podcast, but in people's lives. So our third has bowed out, and very respectfully so, and we respect that decision quite a bit.
Absolutely.
We understand it. I won't go into any details, but next week, or next episode, Big Hero 6.
Let's go.